What is next for Sam Darnold? A question you may be asking yourself, a question I am asking myself, a question we've really been asking ourselves for a very, very long time. Recently, the Carolina Panthers traded for Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield for a conditional 5th-round draft pick, effectively benching Sam Darnold, who they acquired last offseason from the New York Jets after he spent 3 years with them. We're going to be diving into what is next for the former number 3 overall pick out of USC. As always, make sure you guys stay tuned for the video and let me know what you think down below. Hello everybody, welcome back to TheeSportsScoop. My name is Kian McDermott, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about, and really a question I don't really know, I guess we'll be figuring it out along the video, but what's next for Sam Darnold? As I recapped earlier, obviously traded for Baker Mayfield, he is now most likely going to be the backup quarterback, and with Matt Corral there as well, he may be the QB3, and we may see him not on the Panthers midway through the season if they don't believe that he's worth that money or worth just the roster spot. Let's go back into what he was at USC. A very, very accomplished quarterback, a guy who was obviously worthy of the number 3 overall pick by the New York Jets, and obviously played 2 years at USC, 2017, 2018. In 2017, he won the Rose Bowl as a freshman. 2018, the year before he was drafted, he threw for 34 big-time throws as measured by PFF, which is number 1 in college football, ahead of Baker Mayfield, Mason Rudolph. So there were a lot of those quarterbacks ahead of Josh Allen, Josh Rosen. But again, he was very good coming out of USC. Looked like a polished quarterback. Definitely not kind of the modern QB style, but kind of like, again, him and Josh Rosen and Baker Mayfield were game managers, had the arm, had the accuracy. Sam Darnold, definitely a sneakily mobile guy, actually. So I guess you could kind of put him in that modern quarterback mold coming out of USC. Seemed like a prospect who would be worth that pick and was taken by the Jets, number 3 overall. And then again, in his rookie season, by no stretch of the imagination was it terrible. Comparing it to many other quarterback stats and quarterback, obviously how they played in their rookie year, looking at this year, last year, year before. Again, in 2017, 57.7 completion percentage, 2,865 yards, 70 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and ended with a 77.6 passer rating, which again is by no stretch of the imagination bad. None of those offensive rookie of the year numbers, obviously, but he had good numbers. And again, going into the 2019 season, he was very promising. You look at the first 13 weeks as a starting quarterback for the New York Jets. He was 32nd in clean pocket grade and in first read grade and 30th in uncatchable pass percentage. But then you look into week 14 and 17, those last 3 weeks to end the season, he was first in both clean pocket grade and uncatchable pass rate and second in first read grade. So that step gave Jets fans a ton of hope going into the next season. There was a lot of hope for Sam Darnold. 100%. A lot of people thought, hey, this guy can actually end up being our franchise quarterback. Obviously, some bumps in the road. You look at Zach Wilson this year for the New York Jets, was worse than Sam Darnold in his rookie year and definitely has a lot of spark. So I think Sam Darnold definitely gave Jets fans hopes and Jets fans hope. The 2019 season, however, was a step up. He got better, and again, it was a lot of hope for the New York Jets fans, and obviously the way he ended that 2018 season kind of justified going to 2019. 61.9 completion percentage, higher than the previous year, 3,024 yards higher than the previous year, 19 touchdowns higher than the previous year, and 13 interceptions, which was lower than the previous year, and an 84.3 passer rating, which is to this day still his highest ever passer rating to end off a season. So that 2019 season, Jets fans were like, okay, sophomore season, there was improvements. He's still throwing too many interceptions. The touchdown rate isn't there. He's not scoring as much. He's not putting the ball in the end zone as much, and the yards aren't there yet. But so again, it's not that Justin Herbert, Josh Allen step, and even Josh Allen took a couple years to take that. But he kind of showed all of the potential to take that step going into the next season. So I think, especially for Jets fans, it was all right. A lot of momentum is there for Sam Darnold. After that season, unfortunately, it kind of just went downhill for him in 2020. 59.6% completion percentage, 2,208 yards, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 72.7 passer rating, all lower than the previous year. And this was his first year where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. And then again, it got even worse for him, kind of as the season went along in 2020. It just was very bad. His decision making was rash. He was throwing it poorly. He lost the ball a lot. And the Jets were losing at the end of the day. The Jets were just not a very good team, and Sam Darnold didn't look like the quarterback for the future for the New York Jets. That was definitely a season I'll remember. Darnold was injured a little bit. Obviously, we know that Browns game where they had to put in their third string. There was a lot of variables there for Sam Darnold. And again, did he have the best supporting cast? No. So I think you can obviously, there's always that argument. There's that argument for Daniel Jones now. There's that argument for obviously Zach Wilson as well now, who finally now has a supporting cast in his second year. Adam Gase as the coach is inexcusable. That's obviously number one, a red flag. So for him, that was very poor. And then, which I think you can contribute 100% Adam Gase's heredity as a head coach to Sam Darnold's kind of downfall. For Sam Darnold, they never really seemed to commit to him. They never really seemed to be like, all right, you're our guy. They never did the Josh Allen type thing where they gave him Stephon Diggs, the Zach Wilson type thing where they go and draft aggressively. They trade up. They go and get big free agent names. They never really did that. The Jets, at least at any magnitude, that would help Sam Darnold. So that was the number one thing for Sam Darnold. So as much hate and slander that he gets, I give him a little bit of slack. I don't think Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. I don't think he will be anything. But there's always that question mark of what if they had given in to Sam Darnold? What if they had committed to Sam Darnold and really given him the assets he needed? Maybe he would be a different quarterback. Maybe to this day, right now he would be the Jets franchise guy. Then obviously in 2021 he got traded over to the Carolina Panthers. That surprising deal that definitely for NFL fans, we weren't looking at that trade as, oh, he's going to be a backup guy. We're looking at it fresh start for Sam Darnold. We know he has potential. He kind of has that ceiling. He completely hit rock bottom for the Panthers. But what was, again, and going back to that Adam Gase thing, is you look at his beginning of the Panthers career, they started off 4-0. They looked great. They looked like a good team. Sam Darnold looked like a good quarterback. Looked like, okay, he might actually be the franchise guy for the Carolina Panthers. And then unfortunately it just went downhill. The following weeks were horrible. It was statistically his worst year as a quarterback in the NFL, 59% completion percentage. And again, going back to just talking about that, as a quarterback, you look at Drew Lock, guys like that, guys who have in the 50s for completion percentage. You just can't be completing nearly half of your passes as a quarterback. You just will never be successful. And again, 2020 with the Jets and 2021 with the Panthers, it was the same thing. Threw for 2,227 yards, 9 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and had his lowest passer rating of his career was 71.9. We saw it go downhill for Sam Darnold, and really going to Carolina that first time, we thought, oh, this may be his bounce back year. This may be he becomes the franchise guy. No more Adam Gase. It seems like he was flourishing those first 4 or 5 weeks, and unfortunately just went downhill. And again, the Panthers is kind of no excuse for Sam Darnold. He had weapons. The defense wasn't bad. He had CMC there for a little bit, and the coaching was pretty good. Definitely not great, but it was a better coaching staff than he had, and I think any quarterback who would have been something would have made do with that roster and would have thrived with that roster. And unfortunately, Sam Darnold didn't. I think that fourth year was finally the year where everyone was like, okay, that's not it. I think the Panthers understood that. They had taken a chance on Teddy Bridgewater. They kind of had enough of not having that superstar guy, and then going back to trading for Baker Mayfield. He may not be that superstar guy, but he's definitely a step up from Sam Darnold. And then again, just to kind of put it into perspective and really where the pendulum swung for Sam Darnold was just very confusing, because what plagued him in the NFL really did not seem to in college. 2 seasons for USC at a 57-22 interception ratio, and the 57 touchdowns is great. High productive quarterback in college, and as well 64.9% completion percentage, which was his highest, outside the NFL. He had 153.2 passing efficiency, which was great as well. He was a quarterback who really, you saw in college, prove why he was a number 3 overall pick for the Panthers. And really, what's next for Darnold is, I think the quick answer is, oh, he'll just be the backup guy. That's what he'll be. He'll be the backup for the Panthers, maybe fighting for that backup job with Matt Corral and maybe even with PJ Walker. And if not, he'll be a QB3. But I really just, and I'm going to take if you want to say casual take, I just can't see Sam Darnold breaking in to a QB1 role next, because you look at, and I think if it were to happen, it would be this year, especially with the kind of weaker quarterback class we saw last draft class, which is very unlikely with the next for a long time, or for the foreseeable future, the NFL draft is going to be pumping out quarterbacks. You look at next year in the 2023 draft, it could be even better than what we saw in the 2021 draft, and that was a fantastic quarterback class. We could see 5 quarterbacks getting taken in that first 5 picks, first 10 picks. Sam Darnold is just going to get harder and harder and harder for him as more high caliber quarterbacks get pumped into the league, and especially as more guys who are now younger start to solidify themselves as their franchise guys. And again, for Sam Darnold, the question for me, and if you were to pose a question like, okay, if you could see a team for him to go to, what would the team be and what would the package be? I just don't see one. You look at the worst teams in the league. Lions, I would take Goff. I think Goff can win more. You look at who else? The Jaguars, no. Trevor Lawrence. The Giants. Are you really going to take him over Daniel Jones? It's a marginal difference, and I would honestly take Daniel Jones, and the Giants aren't going to do that. The Jets, no. The Falcons, no. There's teams that you look at, and even as that backup guy, he would be struggling. So I just don't see him starting, and I don't see him finding a role as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and it's really unfortunate for Sam Darnold, because I think we love to see quarterbacks flourish. We love to see guys with hype out of college and out of high school come into the NFL and produce, but unfortunately he hasn't. So I think his future is on the bench for an NFL team, and I think that's kind of what he's put himself into, because I think he's been given enough opportunities. No matter what situation you're in, 4 years, you got to give us something. And did he give us flashes? 100%. And those first 2 years, he was promising, but those last 2 years for the Jets, or the last year for the Jets, it just, it wasn't working out. So, So last year for the Jets just wasn't working out. And then the year before that, the year after that with the Panthers, it just, Sam Darnold never kind of got it to click. So that's kind of where I'm at with what Sam Darnold will be. Thank you guys so much for watching. Kian McDermott, as always, let me know what you think down below about the Sam Darnold situation. I was originally going to title this "Where is Sam Darnold Going Next?" but I feel like we spent a long time kind of talking about what went wrong in the past, so maybe we'll talk about kind of what went wrong with Sam Darnold. But let me know what you guys think down below. As always, follow us on social media at TheeSportsScoop, and please do subscribe if you did enjoy the video. Share it with a friend, and let us know what you think on social media. You can always DM us over there to show your support. But we appreciate you guys so much for watching. As I've already said, Kian McDermott. You can follow me on Instagram, Kian_MCD5, if you want to let me know personally what you thought about the video. And yeah, we don't really do high quality videos like this often, but we do a ton of podcasts and a ton of stuff like that. So make sure you check the channel. We're going to be posting a ton over the summer, as well our Bust or Boom series, where we preview each NFL team for the 2023 NFL season. They're coming out every single week, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel to check out when your team does come out. But that is it for the video. Sam Darnold, we'll see what your future holds, but it doesn't seem to be very bright. That door seems to be closed. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.